This is the plaintiff, Gina. She says she brought her very expensive Bulgari watch to the defendant's jewelry store to get the battery replaced. Turns out the people he has working for him are inept because they lost a screw to the back of the watch. When he told her he found it, he damaged the watch by screwing it in because it was the incorrect screw. She had to bring the watch to Bulgari, was charged $385 to fix it, and that's exactly what she's suing the stubborn defendant for, right here, today. This is the defendant, Alex Babayev. He says he admits to losing the spring-loaded screw and offered to get the plaintiff another one. It would have cost him about $15, and he would have repaired the woman's watch for free. She left the shop in a huff, had the watch fully serviced at Bulgari, and now wants him to pay $385? No way. He's accused of screwing it up big time.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff brought her Bulgari watch to the defendant for batteries. The guy lost the screw, and she now wants a lot of money for it. She spent $385 to have the screw replaced. But the defendant says it would have cost $15 for the screw. It's the case of you have a screw loose.
Thank you, Douglas. All right. You want to be called just Gina?
Yes, ma'am.
Gina, you are suing Alex Babayev and Metro Jewelers, that's your company?
That's correct.
For $385, the amount that you had to pay to fix a Bulgari watch when a screw went missing at his place. Tell me what happened.
Correct. On June 15th of 2015, I passed by Mr. Babayev's store. I had passed it many times in the past, and at this particular time, my Bulgari watch needed a battery. So I went inside, and the young lady, I told her it's a Bulgari watch, and she said, oh, that's fine. We service Rolexes, we do all that. So that made me feel confident enough to take my watch off, give it to her, and she put it right in front of me on a little pad. She started taking apart the casing and doing whatever you need to do to change the battery. And in the course, at that moment, just sort of in front of all of us, a tiny little screw just went flying somewhere's behind the counter. And everyone winds up on their knees, her, other employees, looking for this little tiny screw.
Did you actually see it fly? Because you were watching, or no?
Well, actually, I was just standing there, but didn't quite see the moment when it popped.
But she did?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were all looking for the screw, couldn't find it. They took a little broom out, started sweeping the floor, and to no avail. So I said, what do you do now? She says, oh, I'm sure we could find another screw to put in there. So I waited for a few moments. They looked in drawers and other places and couldn't find another screw. They said, I said, well, I'm not going to leave the watch here. I said, may I speak to the boss? You lost my screw to the watch. The boss came back and he said, he looked at it, he said, I will.
Wait, is this the boss?
The boss,
okay.
This gentleman here, came back and said, oh yeah, I can get it fixed for you. Just leave the watch. At that point, I really didn't feel very comfortable about leaving the watch. About an hour, they scotch taped my watch back together because it wouldn't shut. So I was afraid of other pieces falling out of the watch. And they scotch taped it back, put it in a plastic bag. About 2 hours later, I get a call, we found your screw.
Oh.
So I very excitedly ran back to the store with my scotch taped watch, and it was the wrong screw. They started messing with it and playing with it, and the screw did not fit.
Wait, where did we find that screw? Did we actually find that screw, or we found a screw that we could use?
So she paid $385 for the screw. Does she get that money?
Absolutely.
A lot of money for a screw.
She brought it in for a battery. He lost the screw. He's responsible.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Does she get the $385?
Yes.
Really? Does she?
If she paid that much to get that exact same screw back, but
is it reasonable, $385 to this guy for losing the screw?
Depends on what kind of contract they have.
Nobody wants to say yes here. Nobody wants to say yes. Going inside the courtroom.
We have a lot of screws.
Okay, so you just found all screws. Nobody found the screw that popped out.
In order to find the right screw, she would have had to leave the watch because the threads are all different.
Right, but nobody found the screw that actually popped out.
No.
Even to this day, nobody's found it.
It is so tiny. It is
so
unbelievable,
tiny.
yes.
So tiny. How much did your Bulgari watch cost?
This watch was in the thousands. It was a gift to me, and it was in the thousands, and I've had it for many years.
Are you an authorized Bulgari watch repair place?
No.
Why were you taking your several $1,000 watch to an unauthorized, to a dealer that wasn't authorized?
Over the years, changing the battery was just something very basic that...
And why are you opening up an incredibly expensive watch that you're not, I mean, maybe that's like a function of that watch where you have to be very careful with it. Maybe you should have a sneeze guard, you know, so that if something goes flying, we can stop it. I don't know.
No, we fix all kind of watches, Rolexes, Breitlings. So, I mean, some of them are easy, some of them are technical.
Okay, so you at this point have no faith, and so you take the watch and you take it to...
I asked the employee to please sign something, and she wrote "screw lost in store by me," because
I'm sure she felt awful.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. And then I took the watch to Bulgari, and they looked it over and took several weeks.
Don't think you won't pay. If you're taking it there, it's not going to be a $20 screw.
Right. Well, that's what Mr. Babayev believed, that he could just send it to whoever and they were just going to fix it. I didn't know whether they would put in the right parts or approved parts for that watch, seeing as what happened at the store. So that was where
they charged you then $385 because you can't just buy a screw. According to you.
That's what I said. Can you give me a screw? I asked them because he asked me to ask the Bulgari store, and they said they cannot.
Okay. And did you ever call the Bulgari store once you realized you were being sued to see if it's possible to just buy?
No, basically they usually charge you more just to get
they charge you more
for the maintenance.
They're in the business of making the $385 for the battery change. They change your gaskets. But that's the only way to get the part that they lost back in there.
Exactly. They needed to do their thing before they could give me back the watch whole.
Okay. So what is your defense? Yes, we lost a screw, but it's not a $385 screw?
It doesn't, you know, I don't deny it. I told her I will replace it. I do have a watch maker on the premises. He comes in Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I would have charged nothing for it because I know it's my fault, and to compensate for her loss and everything, I'll take care of it. Not even charge her for the battery. She said, no, I don't trust you. I don't want to do that. So I really signed saying that, you know, if you could bring me the screw, I'll put it in. Not $385, honestly speaking.
Right.
Sensible.
So
thinking.
how much does changing a battery cost? If everything had gone well, what would that cost?
On her watch, it's basically around $10, $10, $15, depending on the size of the battery.
Right. What about the fact that this is a really expensive watch and that she has no idea what's going to happen a year from now with the wrong screw in there? What about the fact that none of it is her fault? I mean, there are screws and then there are screws, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the risk you run when you open up a several $1,000 watch and lose the screw.
Only one screw would fit that. Otherwise, the whole mechanism is gone. That's why I have a watch guy on the premises. He fixes all kind of watches, certified watch technician. I don't have him on a daily basis because he has other jobs that he does. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is the only time.
Now, I hear you, and I understand what you're saying, and it seems kind of harsh. But by the same token, I hear her, and she's blameless, and she lost faith, you know, and she doesn't want you to compensate her by paying her $10 because she was only able to put the watch back together by taking it to Bulgari. But you're saying, well, no, Judge, she would have been able to put the watch together again. She just needed to leave it with me and give me a chance. And that's where the rub is. Does she have to leave it with you because that's reasonable and that's the only thing she should be able to do and that's the only thing you should be held accountable for? Does she have to leave her several $1,000 watch with you guys when she's already brought it there once, you lost a screw, you made her come back, and then it turns out it was the wrong screw, and she's done with you? And I don't think she does. I don't think she does. I'm going to deduct $15, which is what she would have paid at your place, and I'm going to order you to pay her $370 for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. She gets $370 back. Mr. Babayev, how do you feel about the outcome of this?
I'm truly sorry for the screw that I lost, but listen, she does have an expensive watch, I understand, and if she would have left it with me, I probably would have fixed it with the right technician. I mean, of course, I'm not.
I understand. I feel bad for her. I'm even nervous about walking out with a watch scotch taped together. I don't know if I'd let her do that if I were you. You could have lost more money.
I didn't want other parts to be lost.
Well, neither did she. Thank you very much. Sorry about it. Maybe you've learned a lesson from this. Here comes Gina, the plaintiff in this case. The key is the watch okay now?
It's perfect.
Running well?
Running
good time?
well. Good time.
What have you learned out of this whole exercise?
I think I will be more selective with where I'm going to be repairing this
You really
watch.
should have probably gone to Bulgari in the beginning.
I agree, but I'm glad that the judge was able to see my position here.
No question. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You must sign some documents. Harvey, it's your turn.
I mean, I gotta say, she is entitled to be made whole, and made whole means all the parts of a Bulgari watch get to go back into the watch, and that would cost a lot of money.